Have you ever tried walking without a map, without a phone, and without asking for directions, just by looking up? For many English learners, the best way to improve is not just by studying books but by experiencing the world and describing it in words. In this story, we'll follow a girl who chose to let the sun guide her, and we'll discover how even the smallest details along the way can help grow your vocabulary, confidence, and fluency. If you enjoy learning English through stories, subscribe to SpeakEase, and in the comments, tell us, what's the most unusual way you've ever chosen a path? Let's begin. The sky was bright and cloudless when Lila stepped outside. She didn't have a destination in mind. She had been in the city for 3 days and had already visited all the popular places the guidebooks suggested. That morning, she wanted something different. She stood on the sidewalk and tilted her head upward. The sun was climbing higher, leaning slightly to the east. "I'll follow the sun today," she whispered to herself. With that thought, she began walking, not on a marked trail or a tourist path, but simply in the direction where the light felt strongest. The sun would be her compass. She kept her phone in her backpack and pulled out a small notebook and a pencil instead. Her rule was simple: keep moving in the direction of the sun, take breaks only in shade, and write down one new English word every time she saw something interesting. Her first stop was a park bench under a maple tree. The branches swayed gently, and the sun filtered through the leaves, painting golden patterns on the path. She wrote, "Sun-dappled." It meant that sunlight was broken into soft patches by the leaves above. After a few minutes, she stood again and continued toward the sun. She passed a woman watering flowers on a balcony. The woman looked down and waved. Lila waved back and said, "Your flowers look happy." It wasn't perfect English, but it made the woman smile. She kept going. The buildings grew taller, casting longer shadows. She crossed a small bridge over a canal, where children were feeding ducks. The water reflected the sunlight like scattered diamonds. She paused and scribbled, "Glimmer." At a corner cafe with blue chairs outside, the sun hit the table just right, making everything glow. Lila sat down for a cup of tea. The waiter asked, "Would you like anything sweet?" She replied, "Just tea, thank you." "The sun is sweet enough today." He laughed and nodded. Nearby, 2 older men were playing chess. One of them said, "You're thinking too long. The sun will go down before you move." Lila smiled at that line and wrote it in her notebook. After her tea, she resumed her walk. The sun was slightly westward now. She walked through a market street filled with colorful fabrics, baskets, and spices. One shop had golden scarves hanging in the light. She stopped and touched one. A young man in the shop said, "You like the gold color?" She answered, "Yes. It feels like morning." "Everything is gold in this light," he said. She bought a small scarf and tied it around her wrist. It shimmered when she moved her hand. Next, she passed an old library with wide stone steps. A child sat there reading a book, swinging her legs. Lila sat on the next step and asked, "What's your book about?" The girl replied, "A dragon that loses its way and follows the sun." Lila laughed. "I think I'm doing the same." She noted down, "Follow the sun," a phrase for letting light guide you. As the afternoon light began to soften, Lila reached a hill just outside the city. There were no shops or people, only trees and open grass. The sunlight came through sideways now, long and golden. She climbed slowly, stopping to breathe and look around. At the top, she found a large rock and sat on it. The sun was in front of her now, dipping lower. A breeze brushed her face. In the quiet, she heard birds chirping and distant city sounds. She felt peaceful. She wrote one last line in her notebook: "The sun gave me a path, but the words gave it meaning." She stayed there until the sun almost touched the horizon. Then, she turned back, not because she knew where she was, but because the day had given her enough. Her notebook had 10 new words. Her heart felt light. And her English? It had grown not through grammar exercises, but through watching, listening, speaking simply, and letting experience become vocabulary. Let's review the useful expressions and vocabulary from this story. Sun-dappled, sunlight shining through leaves in patches. Glimmer, soft, unsteady light. The sun is sweet enough today, creative way to express satisfaction. Everything is gold in this light, metaphor for warm sunlight. Follow the sun, to move in the direction of the sunlight or follow natural guidance. Stories like these remind us that language learning doesn't always come from classrooms. Sometimes, just by walking and noticing, you're already improving. Subscribe to SpeakEase for more daily English through stories. And in the comments, tell us, if you followed the sun for a day, where do you think it would take you? See you in the next video.